Hi, Crandall here. And today we are talking about the count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 biggest mistakes that people make when trying to build business credit. And I'm going to map out exactly how you can avoid these pitfalls to succeed. So again, when we talk about business credit, thank you all very much for joining us. And already going crazy on the loves. I haven't even said anything to deserve the hearts, and I'm still getting it, which is awesome. So look, if you're not familiar with business credit, what we're talking about is getting credit for your business EIN that's not linked to your personal Social Security number. This is credit that doesn't require a personal credit check. This is credit that doesn't require a personal guarantee. It's credit with limits of $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 and higher. You can get it regardless of personal credit quality. You don't need cash flow. You don't need collateral to get approved. You can get approved using a startup. What's up? Thanks for coming. There's a lot of benefits of building business credit. This scope is not for the purpose of explaining those benefits. But what we are going to do is I'm going to talk to you about the 5 biggest mistakes that people make when they try to build business credit and what causes them to fail. Please do invite some friends. I appreciate you doing so you can succeed. Look, that's, Warren Buffett said it best when he said, look, it's good to learn from your mistakes. It's better to learn from other people's mistakes. And that's what I'm going to help you do today. I'm going to help you learn from other people's mistakes that fail building business credit and getting corporate credit so you can succeed. So let's dive in. Let's take a look. Let's go to the whiteboard. Introduce you to mistake number 1. Let me get my orange marker here for its Gators color. All right, so the 5 biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make when building business credit. The number 5 is setting up the wrong entity. It has to do when you very first set up your business to begin with. In the United States, one of the first steps that you take when building a business is that you set up an entity. You go to your Secretary of State, and what you do is you set up whatever entity may be, LLC, corporation, sole proprietorship, partnership, etc. Hey, A2 and Intel Soul, thanks for coming in, appreciate it. So this is one of the first mistakes that people make when building business credit. They set up the wrong entity right from the beginning. So which entities do you set up, and how can you make a mistake by choosing the wrong one? Sole proprietorships and partnerships. With these two, you and the business are one and the same. You are the business. So when we talk about the benefit of being able to build business credit without personal liability, which there's a ton of benefits, no personal guarantee required, you bypass this benefit if you are the business. If you're a sole proprietorship or partnership, you're always going to be liable personally for what happens in your business because you are the business. But if you choose an LLC or a corporation, then what you're doing is you're creating a separate entity. And with a separate entity, you and the business are separate. So liability can be separated too. So having an LLC and corporation is crucial to you being able to get business credit with no personal guarantee. Now, you can still get business credit and not be liable for the actual credit if you are a sole proprietorship or a partnership. But here's the problem. They can still sue you and the business at the same time with these two. So if you default on a Chase credit card and you're an LLC or corporation, all Chase can do is sue the business. They can't sue you personally. But if you're a sole prop or a partnership, they could sue the business and you. So the very first thing you do when you set up an entity is consider an LLC or a corporation. Now again, super hard. Christine Farrell, thank you for coming in with the super hearts. That's awesome. So an LLC or a corporation, when you build business credit for these, you could separate your liability. You want to talk to an accountant about what happens to these different entities as well. But again, one of the biggest mistakes people make when building business credit, come down smart and cute, man. That's awesome. Rock on. Thanks for that. Sole proprietorships and partnerships. You want to avoid them. So you separate you from the business and you become an LLC or a corporation. You and the business are separate. You can separate your liability and you can get credit without a personal guarantee. Okay, and it's also going to help separate your liability and can create a little bit safer for you where you don't get sued for anything that happens in your business. So you can build business credit with any entity, but again, if you really want to separate liability, go with that LLC or corporation. So number 4. Fourth biggest mistake people make building business credit, not setting up the business credibility. So lenders and credit issuers have a secret set of standards, and if you meet them, you get automated approvals. If you don't meet them, you get let me explain this. When we build business credit, our goal is to be able to get you automated approvals, which means you go in, you apply online, and boom, you get an instantaneous approval. You don't have to go through a manual underwriting process. Black Queen status. Ty, I tried getting a Chase business card, and the rep said they have to pull my personal credit. How much business credit do you have? A lot of people make that mistake. A lot of people hear me talk about corporate credit and business credit, and they go try to get a Chase credit card with nothing else on their business credit report. You might have to. You will have to provide a personal guarantee with a Chase credit card until you have a lot more credit established. You're going to have about 14, 15 accounts built on your business credit profile before Chase will give you a card with no personal guarantee. Got it. Got $73K in funding through your card stacking program. Press on more. Good, man. I remember we talked about that on Periscope, so I'm glad you had some success. So let's get a little bit kind of on topic and off topic. Remember, when you're building business credit, what you're doing is you've got to set up the credibility, which we're talking about now. You've got to set up with the business credit reporting agencies. You've got to build initial credit accounts till you get 5 reporting. Then you get store credit accounts. Then you move to cash credit. What you're describing is what a lot of people do. You skipped step 3. You skipped step 4. You went right to the end, step 5. Well, nobody's going to approve you for fleet credit and auto vehicle financing and cash credit when you have nothing on your business credit report. You've got to have about 10 to 15 accounts reporting through vendor credit and store credit to even get to cash credit. So that's probably why you got denied. But when we talk about setting up your business credibly, hey, Duke 1290 SC, welcome, man. First day on Periscope. Periscope's awesome. Welcome. Step 1 is you've got to set up that business credibly. You've got to make sure that you've got a legitimate, credible business, that you've got a business name that's not high risk, that business name that doesn't reflect that you're in a high risk industry. You want to set up that entity, as we talked about, as an LLC or corporation. You want to set up your EIN. You want to get a domain and email address that are professional. If you're using a Gmail address or you don't have a website, that stuff's going to get you denied when you go to apply for credit. You want to set up your business licensing if any is required. I didn't skip and didn't get denied. They insisted on pulling my personal credit. So Black Queen status, how many verified accounts do you have reporting with the 3 credit reporting agencies now? Let me know how many you have reporting now, and I'll still provide you guidance here as I move through this. You want to set up, you want to have 10. Well, you're probably going to need 14 or 15 to get approved. It's possible with 10. But you're right, not all cash credit cards will approve you without a PG. My advice is call Chase and ask them to speak to somebody else other than the person you spoke to, and you might be able to get approved. But understand that they might not approve no personal guarantee. Most cash sources don't give you this credit without a personal guarantee. There's not a lot of sources that do, so it's still not surprising if maybe you ran into that. But try talking to somebody else at Chase, and try some other accounts like BJ's has a MasterCard. You can also try Wells Fargo as well to give you another couple sources. Set up a physical business address. You don't want to use a P.O. box, an iPostal, a UPS address. You also maybe want to use a virtual address if you're using a home address instead. Thanks for sharing. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And get a business toll-free number. You've got to have a toll-free number. It needs to be listed with 411, and you need to set up your fax number. Guys, look, it's really simple. You need to have the persona. Think about what happens when you're starting to build business credit. You're not giving them your social. So they don't have your personal credit to go off of, which means they're only going to approve you based on what's on that application. Working for you, LLC. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. And welcome for coming back. So that being said, you've got to make sure what's on your application is up to speed, up to par. It's got to be done well, reflects credibility. If you don't do that, what's a virtual address? I'll tell you in just a sec. If you don't do that, then you're going to get denied automatically because you don't meet the criteria. So what's a virtual address? A virtual address is where you rent an address. So instead of renting a physical office location, you're renting an actual business address. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming in, and I'm glad to be able to help and answer your questions. So that's exactly what that is. A virtual address is where you go to a high-rise building in Tampa, Florida, and you rent the address so you can get mail there. Then when you get mail, they just forward it to you. It gives you the persona of being a professional, credible, big business, even if you're running out of your home. It's a real really, 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 really cool hack to give the perception of being bigger than you are to help you get more credit, more loans. I use the UPS physical addresses. It's not okay. No, it's bad, 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 bad. UPS, PO boxes, those are put into a special list that creditors and lenders have, and if they see that you're using one of those addresses, it will absolutely get you denied building business credit. That's why you're better off to use a home address or a physical business address or a virtual address, but do not use a PO box or a UPS address. Try places like Regis, yes, for virtual address, Regis, RUGS. You can also go right to our website, creditsuite.com/virtual. That's creditsuite.com/virtual, and you'll get information. Guys, virtual addresses aren't cheap. They're $150 a month. If you don't want to spend the $150, $200 a month, use your home address then. But whatever you do, don't use a PO box. Don't use a UPS address. A UPS address. It will absolutely get you denied. GoDaddy, absolutely. GoDaddy for website hosting is great. You just need to have a website. Don't fill out an application for credit and leave website blank because you don't have one. How credible can you really be if you don't have a website? That's the way the creditors look at it. Okay, so that being said, make sure that you go through these steps. You have a business name that reflects you're not high risk, credit, pawn shops, any of those type of things are in a high risk category. If you go to youtube.com/credit suite, we've got videos where we talk about a lot of high risk industries. Make sure you're an LLC or a corporation. Make sure you get a professional website and email address, any necessary licensing you need. Get a physical business address or a virtual address. And also get a toll-free number. Make sure your number is listed with 411 and set up that fax number. So 2 biggest mistakes: getting set up with the wrong entity, choose LLC or corporation. Make sure you set up that business credibly. Number 3, this is something big. Thinking you're getting true business credit when you're not. True business credit, which is actually called corporate credit. True business credit or corporate credit doesn't require a social security number for approval. Christine's asking, does age of web address for credit? No, it does not. Did not let us know about renewal of domain. It doesn't. So you can renew that domain and be just fine, Christine. Don't worry about that. You don't require a social security for approval. Mandy, welcome. First day on Periscope. Glad you're here. It doesn't require a personal credit check. It doesn't report on your personal credit reports. It only reports on your business credit reports. And it doesn't require any kind of personal guarantee. This is what the kind of credit we're talking about today can deliver for you. It's called corporate credit. What if your website's not completely finished? Get it finished before you start applying for credit. That's it. Creditors should be able to look at your site and see a professional site that's finished. Don't apply for business credit until you have that done. So number 3 biggest mistakes, people thinking they're getting real true corporate credit or business credit when they're not. No problem. Thanks for asking the question. So real business credit, true corporate credit, doesn't require a social security number for approval, okay? We just had somebody on here saying, hey, look, and I think it was Black Queen Status that said, hey, look, I was required to give my social. That's because they're not issuing true business credit. You might want to stay away from them. True business credit doesn't require a personal credit check or personal guarantee. It reports on your business credit reports, not your consumer credit. So many people go to places like Capital One and they think they're getting a business credit card, but they're not. Do you have to have a website finished for Uline and Quill? You should have it finished before you apply for any business credit. Even if it's not exactly the way you want it, get up an MVP, which is called a minimum viable product. Get up a website with the basics, and then you can grow it and expand. But the best rule of thumb is do not apply for any kind of credit until you've set up the business credibly. If you look behind me at what I just showed you, that's why it's step number 1. You shouldn't move to step number 2 until you finish step number 1. You're asking about going to step 3 and applying for credit before you finish step 1. That's why they're steps. Don't jump ahead. Hey, Scotty from Chicago, welcome. Do you remember the name of the place you recommended in your book to help fix your website? I'm not sure about that, but what I actually recommend for websites, minimum viable product is what you call an MVP. We do not have a web address with Uline or Quill, but but that was 3 years ago. Look, I'm not saying you have to. Guys, the rule of thumb is by setting up your business credibly, you can miss some credibility steps. And some creditors or credit issuers will still approve you. But do you want to get approved for the most amount of credit? Because if you want to get approved for the most amount of credit, that's why you need to set up the business credibly. All credit issuers will not search your 411. All won't look for a website. All won't look at your address, but a lot will. So you want to get it done first before you even start talking about business or building business credit, because if you don't, you're going to get approved with some sources but denied with others. What I want is automated approvals in almost all the time, and that's going to happen only if you set up the business credibly. So remember, true business credit requires no personal credit check, no personal guarantee, no social security number, and it reports to the business credit reporting agencies, not the consumer credit reporting agencies. If you've done that, then you've got real business credit. Black Queen Status was just on here and said, hey, Chase required a personal credit check. That's probably because Chase is not issuing you true corporate credit. They're giving you a business credit card with your business name on it, but they're making you pull your personal credit report. What does that mean? One, you're going to have an inquiry in your credit report. Two, your personal credit quality is going to determine the approval. Three, there's a real possibility that account can report on your consumer credit report. And the question then is it real business credit if that's the case? No. When I talk about business credit and corporate credit, then what I'm talking about, good job. What I'm talking about is credit that doesn't require the PG, doesn't require a personal credit check, doesn't require personal credit quality of any kind to get approved. When you can get that, that's real corporate credit. But as Black Queen Status pointed out, most of these accounts will absolutely require a personal guarantee and credit check with Visa, MasterCard, Chase, your bank. That means they're not true business credit. You should do exactly what she said, stay away. I have a UPS address. Is that okay? No, nada, not okay. What you want to do is you're better off to use a home address than an actual UPS address. UPS address is one of the most common reasons you're going to get denied for loans and credit. You don't want to get denied. Don't use a UPS address on your application for credit. You're better off to use a virtual address or even a home address, because UPS, you get put onto a list and it will get you denied. It's one of the most common reasons people get denied building business credit. It's a physical street address. It doesn't matter. Okay, look, guys, you think that you're using UPS because they give you a street address. It doesn't matter. Understand how the system works. Let me explain. UPS and PO Box, okay? These guys have a designation that designates that they receive mail on the behalf of others, okay? And I'll talk about the home address in a second. So they have a designation that says that they receive mail from others. That designation automatically puts them on a list that lenders and credit issuers have. So it doesn't matter if it looks like a legitimate address. The fact that they're a UPS store, which means they accept mail on your behalf, automatically puts them on a list that will then let lenders and credit issuers know that the address you're using is a UPS address. But virtual addresses fought the battle with our government back in the 80s and won to get removed from that list. So virtual addresses are okay even though they accept mail on your behalf, because they got approved to do so. So that's why virtual addresses are okay. UPS will get you denied. Now somebody else says, I thought using a home address was bad. Well, what about my lawyer that inked my business? Again, that's called a registered agent, and it might be okay, but here's the problem with using your registered agent. Your DUNS number is assigned to an entity based on your address. So you can imagine the problems if that registered agent has 200 clients, they all use the same address. You're going to have stuff mixed matched on your business credit report, because that's how your business credit report is assigned, is based on your name and address. Anybody can pull your business credit report with only your business name and address. So using somebody else's name that other people's, or address that other people are using as well, is problematic. Now, somebody asked, well, and I think it was Black Queen Status, asked about, hey, I thought home addresses were bad. Here is the list of the way to do it. Number one, best case scenario. You have a real physical business address like we have here, commercial address. Okay. Number two, second best case scenario. You use a virtual address that makes it look like you have a corporate address like I'm standing in right now. Number three, if you can't get number one and two, is use a home address. It will get you denied with some sources, but it's still better than number four, which is UPS address, which you never want to do. So that's the order you should do this. Get a real physical address if you can. Can't? Get a virtual address. Can't? Too much money? Use a home address then. It's going to get you denied, but might still get you some credit. It will get you approved with some credit. 4 is the no-go zone, which means UPS. Don't go there. Don't use P.O. Box. Don't use UPS address. It's going to get you denied. Okay, so let's review. Number 2, set up the wrong entity. Don't do it. Set up an LLC or corporation. Otherwise, you are the business. You can get sued. You'll never truly separate your liability. Virtual addresses still have other clients. Are they the same addresses? Don't they? But they don't fall in to that actual CMA. So yes, you're still okay there. But again, your registered agent has hundreds of people assigned to that address, whereas virtual addresses, you won't have that much of a problem. But yes, you can still face a similar problem with virtual addresses. But you're not going to deal with it nearly as much as a registered agent, because the registered agent's using their address for everybody. People use the address you register your business with. You should have the address that your business is registered with be congruent, and that's back to credibility, right? So your business address, all this information needs to be congruent online. If somebody goes to Google and Bing and sees a different address, a different phone number that's different than your Secretary of State and different than your application, you're going to have a problem. So when you're setting up the business credibly, your business name, your address, your toll-free, your fax number, your 411, it should all be congruent online. If I go to Bing, I should pull up the same business information as I pull up if I'm going to Google, for example. Convoluted credit-based society is antiquated. Well, look, I won't speak to that. I can only talk to you about what we're currently dealing with, not to change it to something else that it's not currently. Setting up the wrong entity, one of the biggest mistakes. Make sure you choose LLC or corporation. Make sure you do what we just talked about and set up the business credibly. Never put your social on an application. Never let them pull your business credit. Okay, number 2 biggest mistakes. Putting your social on the application. It is illegal to put anything in place of a social security number on an application. Don't ever try that. Don't fall for these CPN BS. It will get you in some serious trouble. But you can leave this field blank. And when you do it, credit issuers will pull your EIN credit and use that for approval, okay? So keep in mind, real business credit doesn't require a personal credit check or a personal guarantee. The minute you give them your social, they're gonna pull your personal credit. I promise you, they're gonna do it. So how do you get credit without them pulling your personal credit? It's simple. Leave your social security field blank. If you've done so and you've followed the steps in building business credit, which if you're not sure what those steps are, go to creditsuite.com/Periscope, and we've got a free guide that maps them out. creditsuite.com/Periscope, and it maps out the steps. So when you build business credit, you've got to set up the business credibly. Then you come in and get yourself set up with the reporting agencies. And the purpose of this scope isn't to walk through this. If you go to creditsuite.com/scope, you can get all of our previous scopes where we've mapped this out. Then you get some vendor accounts that report to the business credit reporting agencies. That establishes a credit profile. It establishes a credit score. With that, you can start getting store credit cards, fleet credit cards, Visa cards, MasterCards. Yes, creditsuite.com/scope, Regina, to access all of our previous scopes. Without a personal guarantee, without a personal credit check. How do you do it? Leave your social security number off the application. Don't get me wrong, you're still going to need it for loans. You probably don't have, and yes, Regina, thank you for that too. That's where you can get the free guide. You probably don't have what you're going to need in the beginning to go through and get this done. You've got to get some vendor accounts reporting first. But in order to get approved for real business credit, you've got to leave your social security number off the application. When you do this, you force them to pull your business credit report. They see accounts reporting, they see a good score, they issue you credit based on that established business credit without needing a personal credit pull. You give them your social, they'll pull your personal credit. There's there's an inquiry on your report, the credit might report on your consumer credit report, and they're going to make the approval decision based on your consumer credit quality. You want to avoid those things? Simple. Leave your social security number off the application. If you make this mistake, they'll pull your personal credit, and if your personal credit sucks, they're going to deny you. So don't let them pull your personal credit. They can't pull it if your social's off the application. Leave your social off. Mistake number 2 that people make when building business credit. Mistake number 1, and here it is. I just kind of briefly talked about it. Applying for credit in the wrong order. When people hear me talk about getting high limit credit cards without a personal guarantee and personal credit checking, here's our actual approvals from people on Periscope and Facebook Live that tell us how much they're getting approved for, and we verify in business credit reports. No, inquiries do not really hurt at all your business credit report. They really aren't calculated into your score whatsoever. I think I have something here that has to do with business credit. With DMB's Paydex score, Experian, or Equifax, they don't at all tie in. Only with Experian will it even matter. So with Experian it will, but inquiries don't matter very much at all. So on business credit, no, inquiries really will not hurt you. But the same thing, you don't want inquiries on your personal credit when you're trying to apply for commercial credit. Then they do. They look amazing. I thank you. It's because I didn't do them. I hired somebody to do them. But they misspelled all kinds of stuff. Look at this. She misspelled. Make me look. She misspelled Experian and Equifax. So I've got to talk to my whiteboard girl. Somebody with decent handwriting do the whiteboards, but it doesn't help me when we misspell Experian and Equifax. I'll get that stuff fixed though. So back to the point at hand. You've got to apply for credit in the right order. What everybody wants to do when they build business credit. So what happens is people say, oh, what? I can come in and get a Sunoco card for 20 grand without a personal guarantee. I can come in and get an Apple credit card for 12.5 without a guarantee. I can get a Bank of America card for 11 grand. I'm going to do that. Then they skip here and they start applying for fleet credit and fuel credit and cash credit cards. But you can't do that. You've got to build some initial business credit first that reports to the reporting agencies. This gives you a profile and a score. Then when you have 5 accounts reporting, you can then skip to the next step and start to get high limit store credit cards at almost all major retail stores, Staples, Apple, IKEA, etc., etc. Once you have about 10 reported accounts, as Black Queen Status mentioned, then you can jump to fleet credit cards, Visa cards, MasterCards. Fleet cards are ones you can use for fuel and auto repairs and maintenance and all these type of things. You can even get auto vehicle financing without a personal guarantee. You can get none of this unless you have at least 10 accounts reporting. You can get no store credit, Staples, Chevron, Apple. You can't get any of this unless you have 5 accounts reporting. So you've got to start with places like Quill and Uline and Gimplers and Granger. They will give you credit when you have none. They report to the business credit reporting agencies, which my whiteboard artist has named DMB, Experian, and Equitap. Apparently, that's what they are per my whiteboard artist. You can get established with them. Then once those accounts report, then you can get store credit without a personal guarantee, without a credit check. Then you can get cash credit, fleet credit as well. So here are the 5 steps in overview, the 5 biggest mistakes to avoid. Don't set up the wrong entity. Do not set up a sole proprietorship partnership. Yes, you can build business credit with these, but if you choose these, you'll always be liable for what happens in the business. Choose an LLC or corporation instead. Number 4 mistake, not getting set up your business credibly. Remember, part of building business credit, step 1 is to set up the business credibly. Okay, make sure you have a business name and an EIN. Make sure you have a website and a professional email address, that you have a physical business address or a virtual address, that you have a phone number that's toll-free, that's listed with 411, and that has a fax number, that if you need any licensing, that you have that licensing. Babes like you, welcome. Thanks for coming in. Number 3 big mistake to avoid. Thinking you're getting real business credit. Real business credit, real corporate credit does not require a personal credit check. So don't give them your social. Okay, that's number 2. Don't put your social security number on the application. If you avoid that, that's how you get true business credit without a personal guarantee, without a personal credit check. And the number one mistake to avoid is don't apply for credit in the right order. Don't listen to this training and think that you're going to come in and start getting all this kind of credit right away. You're not. You have to start in this step. Get vendor accounts first, Uline and Quill. Once you get 5 of these kind of accounts, then you can get Office Depot, Apple, Chevron, Amazon. Most major retail stores will offer you business credit without a credit check or guarantee. When you have a total of 10 accounts reporting, that's when you can get Visa cards, Bank of America cards, fleet credit cards without a personal guarantee and credit check. But you can't skip steps. Don't skip vendor credit, skip store credit, and start to get a Visa card first. You'll get denied. You need 5 vendor accounts, then you need another 5 store credit cards. Then you can come in and get fleet credit, cash credit, even auto vehicle financing, guarantee, or personal credit check. Whew, I'm tired. But those are the 5 biggest mistakes to avoid. You avoid those 5 and you follow our trading on here, you're going to be successful at getting real business credit, i.e. corporate credit, i.e. credit that requires no personal credit check, no personal guarantee. So if you've got any comments here at the end that I've missed, it's because I haven't seen them come in, but I'm on here every Wednesday at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about how to get your DUNS number and establish your initial business credit with D&B, I'm pretty sure. And then we're also going to be diving in soon to how to repair damaged business credit as well. So remember, first of all, let's look at some links. Okay, to get a free guide on building business credit, go to creditsuite.com/Periscope. You can go to creditsuite.com/scope to access all of our previous Periscopes as well, all of our previous scopes. You can receive training tips every week from me by texting the word tips to this number, and this will give you training tips every single week. Seton no longer reports Jazzy D to D&B. They used to, they no longer do. So if you text the word tips to this number, I'll give you weekly tips on building business credit as well. And don't forget, creditsuite.com/Periscope will give you a free guide on building business credit. It will also, if you go to creditsuite.com/scope, it will also give you access to our If you missed this, don't worry. It's going to be live on Periscope for 24 hours. After that, we put it on our website, creditsuite.com/scope, so you can see every scope we've ever done and get all the information in the training. I'm going to wrap up. Thank you very much. Hey, welcome. Thank you very much for coming in. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for the loves. Thank you for the super, if I hit that, does it do anything? No, it doesn't. Thank you for the super likes. That was so awesome. Christine just got that as well. So thank you all very much. Hola, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm going to wrap up. If you missed this, go to creditsuite.com/scope to see our previous scopes. And you can go right to Periscope to watch this for the next 24 hours. Peace out. Love you. Good luck on building your business. I'm here to help you access the money you need to do so. I'll see you next Wednesday at 4 o'clock when we'll talk more about mistakes to avoid and how you can get money for your business. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.